All right, what's up, Lemonheads? Welcome to season 2, episode 18 of Vice City FC podcast. I'm your boy, producer Fungus, joined here by Xavi at XG Lavos on Twitter on all social media platforms. How's it going, Xavi?
Good. Ready to go.
All right, man. Let me ask you, bro. How's it been now covering Inter Miami? I think this is your second full season, right?
I think it's third.
Third full season?
Yeah, because
Oh, bro, time flies, man.
I did the Neville, and then the second year where he went halfway,
Oh, yeah.
that complete, and then this one. Good. You
Wild.
know, feels like home. Great. The food's gotten better at the press box. So
The
happy
food.
about.
That's
No,
always important.
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, very few people expected the change. You know that Messi would actually be here. I was one that
Yeah.
said he was coming, and the world, everything changed. So it's been awesome to see when there was four or five people. Those OGs that say, "Oh, it was only four or five." I'm the fifth person that was there. Chilling
Yeah.
when it was empty box, and now all the time see all the international press, all meeting a lot of people from
Mm-hmm.
from all over the world. It's really cool. It's a good thing. I
Yeah.
don't get preferred seats, but it's nice. It's nice to be there.
Hey, at least we didn't lose our
Oh,
spot.
no, I'm there. We're
Yeah.
solid. We're there, man. We're there.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So yeah, man, we're getting to the end of the 2024 MLS season. I think there's two home games left, somewhere around there.
For Miami, they're playing
Mhm.
on the road, and then they come home.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, man, we're getting to the end, and that's kind of what I want to talk about, right? MLS is different from traditional European uh, soccer, where it's not it's not Community Shield, right?
No
Who
support,
determines
no
the
supporter
champion?
shield, no
Supporter
supporter
Shield,
shield.
Supporter Shield. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
they go
I don't know. I
straight
keep
to them.
calling it Community Shield. I don't know why.
It's a cool name too. It's a cool name
Yeah,
too.
but it's not Supporter Shield that determines the champion. Although if you do win the Supporter Shield, you get a nice piece of hardware, but that's not ultimately
And
who is
most
remembered as a
importantly,
champion.
it's home field advantage. Yeah. I mean, we saw with Cincinnati had
Exactly.
a amazing season, but at the end, Columbus Crew was the one that took the trophy home, right? And now the
Mm-hmm.
Crew, they weren't flying high like they did after winning the championship. They took it to another level, and
Yes.
they've maintained that, right? And since he's been a really good team, but right now they're like a little up and down, right? It's like they didn't recover from that apparently, but they're a solid
Yeah,
team. They're a very solid team.
they are a solid team. And Cincy, what are they? They're still number three. They're three. They're third in
They're
the
in a
standings,
fight. Yeah,
right?
they're in a fight. Everybody's the East is tough. I know we're gonna get into that now, but the East, there's 3, 4 teams that can threat that are direct threats that can
Mm-hmm.
be a threat to Inter Miami. Inter Miami, I still believe is the top team because you have those four fantastic guys have won it all: World Cups,
Of
Champions
course.
Leagues, and the team is healthy. But there's
Mm-hmm.
teams and your team, Orlando City, Cincy, you know, Columbus. There's still teams that
Yeah.
are tough. I mean, even New York, New York City FC that has already qualified. They're always a team that plays Miami tough for some reason. They always
Yes.
have Miami's number for some reason. So it's tough. It's tough. Like you said, the supporter shield is great, a nice piece of hardware, but it's not the main goal. And the main goal right now is get in and win that MLS Cup.
Exactly. Exactly. And we saw Columbus do it last season, and also this year they won League's Cup.
They took out
So
Inter Miami after being down 2-0. They
yeah,
came. What was that game? They came back. They won the game. Well, I'm not sure that they took out Inter Miami, and Inter Miami. Columbus won that. To me, that was Miami's to win, and
yeah,
they gave it away.
yeah. I mean, Messi was injured during that tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
But they
So
were playing well. They were playing well,
yeah,
and
of
there was no excuse. I mean, they did. That's the
course.
controversy that's going around right now among the fan base. You see some
Hmm.
on Inter Miami Twitter. You see some fans throwing shade at Messi, saying that ever since he came back, the flow of the game, the speed of the game, the defensive liability, that the teams just tying games because they were scoring at a high rate without him. They were
Yeah.
scoring 3 goals, basically every game, and now it hasn't been that way. But Tata talked about that. He talked about when he comes back at this pivotal point in the season, he
Hmm.
has to obviously rearrange the structure around Messi because you
Yeah.
have he is 37. He has never been known to be a defensive stalwart, right? He is
Hmm.
the goat going forward. That's his thing,
Yeah.
and he came back from a pretty serious injury, so he's still working his way back, and the team's feeling that right now. But they still got 3 more games to sharpen up. And I know we're going to talk about that.
Of course. Yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is building that momentum, right? Like you said, Messi still finding his way back from that awful injury that he had, where his ankle looked like a grapefruit. It was disgusting.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was really bad. But he'll you gotta trust him. No, I don't understand. There are people actually out there that are saying that since Messi came back, the team is looking worse.
can you
Like,
believe
come
that?
on, bro. Get out of here, bro.
Can you believe that? I mean, it's a long season. It's a
Yeah.
work in progress. And you got to go through the end of the season. But the other teams, they're professionals also. They're
Yes.
fighting. These teams are all fighting for their lives. Miami's
Yeah.
already in, and they're working their way back into feeling their way with Messi because yes, you do have to have some people backing him up
Yeah.
on his side to make sure that lane is not a free for all for people going through there. But at the beginning of the season, I mean, to be fair, he was defending at a pretty good rate.
Hmm.
It's since he's come back injured, he's making his way back. I don't think his stamina is 100%. He played the first game. He's played
Hmm.
with Philly. He came back 90 minutes. He looked like he wasn't missing anything. But since then, you even the last game on Saturday, but it was super hot and humid for everybody. You could
Yeah.
tell that he was a little bit depleted. He was a little bit he wasn't fresh.
Yeah.
Not very not too many of the players on the pitch were, but you could tell that it got to him a little bit. But still, you look at his stats and you look what he does. I mean, he's the one that scored the game time goal,
Hmm.
which is the master goal. Like always, the shots that he makes. He
Yeah.
had one blocked, and then the team like had several opportunities to win that game. Just like the game against New York City, they tied it on a header at the end, like the last play of the game. Against
Yeah.
Atlanta, Atlanta got it in. I think it was like at the 85th or 86th. So they've had these games to win, and the small things have happened to because if they win Atlanta and New York, which they should have, those 6 points. Nobody's mentioning anything about Messi coming back or screwing the team
Exactly.
or anything like that. But
Exactly.
when you have possibly the goal, I think he is the goal. I
Hmm.
love Pele. Like him and Pele, I have him there, and Maradona there too.
Yeah.
But when you have that player on your team still producing and doing what he does at this level, you got to give him some credit. You got to give him a little bit of string, he's working his way back. So I'm not gonna attack him or say that the team is better without him. I don't think you have a better team when you take the greatest player perhaps in the history of the game off the pitch. I don't think so.
Exactly. And like, yeah, give him some time to get his physicality back to where it was, where it should be. Like all that stuff coming back from an injury like that takes time, and he is gonna build that momentum. You got to trust him to do so, and he's already shown that when the opportunity is there for him, he's gonna put the ball in the back of the net. So yeah, like you got to just the people out there criticizing him. It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter. I forgot which hand it was. That the gentleman put that in 35 games that he's played now. Those games would be one full season, right? Because the season's
Hmm.
34 games. That's what he's played in 2 seasons for Miami.
Yeah.
Official games. He has 29 goals. Benteke is in the lead now with 20, right, for the
Yeah.
season. He has 29 goals and 18 assists.
Oof.
Okay, and you have to understand, yeah, Benteke's up top, and they feed him all the time. Messi
Mhm.
feeds everybody, feeds everyone, as
Yeah.
the 18 assists show, and he's always creating, and then he finishes. he's just all around fantastic,
Yeah,
and that's the player that you think is messing with your team, right? No, let's give it a time. He's a winner. No,
of
there's no doubt
course.
about that, right? He's the one that has the player that has the most trophies in the history of the game.
Hmm.
Uh, I, he wants to add another one, so I'm sure that once playoffs start, he's gonna take it to another level. He's going to
Yeah.
take it to another level, and he's working his way back. So you have to trust a guy like that. He's proven it over and over and over again. You know.
Hmm.
So
And I think right now, their priority should be his health and building that momentum, figuring out what they need to do from here until the final of the MLS Cup,
yeah,
right?
you mentioned health, but
Yeah.
one guy that's super important also is that David Martinez, the left center back for Inter Miami. Uh, was playing at a fantastic level, showing a lot of grit,
Hmm.
but also a lot of quality and technique from the back, able to come out. And then what does he do? He allows Busquets to stay in the midfield because Busquets the glue of the midfield. Messi
Yeah.
is the firecracker, the star, the superstar, whatever. But Busquets the one that gets that ball and gives it to him like at a perfect spot and lets him
Hmm.
go to work. He tells him, "Here, go to work. Here."
Yeah.
And he now he's playing. He's at center back. He's done a great job. But this last game against Charlotte, the speed of the forwards shows what we're lacking. It's tough. You don't want to have Busquets one on one with anybody at center back. So you need
Yeah.
a guy that like Martinez, our guy Toto Aviles, another yellow card. He's suspended for this crucial game
Hmm.
against Columbus. So the center backs, that's what we need to have healthy. Kristoff has been hurt all year. He should be good now, but he's lost a lot of spark, and I think he's lost a lot of his role. He's given up a lot of minutes, and I think Ian
Hmm.
Frey would probably be next in line. But Kristoff is a veteran, and Tata values his veterans. So, you know,
Yeah. How do you see that playing out going into the playoffs, though? Who do you think is gonna solidify that
I
last man spot?
Martinez supposedly, he has 3 more weeks, right, to
Uh
work his
huh.
way back. But during Saturday, once we came out, there was a halftime came out of the press box in the hall area in the back. Some of the players were walking by, getting food and stuff, and I saw Facundo, and I saw David, Martinez walking, and I just stayed looking at him a little bit, and he looked like he was still like uh, walking a little gingerly,
Mm.
like it wasn't there. So to me, I was like, oh man, I don't see this happening in a week or two. But like I put on what I wrote my article to my untrained eye because it's an untrained eye,
Yeah.
but I played soccer all my life and I see injuries and stuff and just looking at the way he was walking, I was like, I'm not sure. So that's a big thing there. And if it's Toto and then you have to have um, Busquets play, or they're going to go with Kristoff, or you put Ian Frey. To me, Ian Frey, I would put Ian Frey over Toto right now just because of his penchant for the cards, like for city fouls. But they're very
Mm.
similar level players, and I think Ian has a very high level to go to. I think he's more technical and better getting the ball out the back cleanly. So I don't know about Tata. I don't know what Tata's going to do, but those are his options. He has Toto, he has Busquets, he has Ian Frey, he has Kristoff, he has Ryan Saylor, but Ryan Saylor is he's been sailing on a ghost ship because nobody's seen him. Like he barely ever gets any minutes. You know.
Yeah. So that whole stretch where Messi was injured, I think there were some games where Jordi Alba was also injured, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So there
He
was a
played.
those.
He played. Yeah, he missed like
Yeah.
a game of time, but he played most of that stretch and he played
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
He took it to another level.
So there was a stretch where we were missing some key players who solidified themselves during that stretch. Like who stepped in and really, showed Tata that hey, I need to be playing in the playoffs.
At least to be in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny? When David Martinez got injured was a big moment in the game.
Yeah.
Inter Miami was losing the game. They put in Noah Allen, right? And I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Oh crap!" And that was perhaps I forgot who they were playing, but that was perhaps Noah Allen's best game as an Inter Miami player. He stepped in at a crucial moment and played amazing. played amazing, was solid, and he's not a big guy. Going up, chest to chest with the big forwards. I think he's gained some traction. He's gained some respect from the fans and from the
Mm-hmm.
team. I think he's done a solid job. But obviously, you have to think of Yannick Bright. Um, Yannick Bright is a rookie who stepped in and looks like he's been playing for years MLS soccer. The last
Uh-huh.
couple of games, he's been a little bit of a rut. He hasn't looked as great as he has before, but he's still the guy that covers ground and like just destroys plays. I call him Gregory 2.0 because I think he's a better version of Gregory because he's a little bit more under control. He's a pit bull, a dog, but he gets it and he's a little bit more under control. He doesn't try to do too many crazy things and he doesn't get all those cards that Gregory used to get. So I
Mm-hmm.
think those two guys have stepped up. Something interesting. I didn't put it in my article, and I was going to tweet it out, but I'm going to say it here. One of the interesting things Tata did in this last game, he brought in Campana and he put him as a left midfielder. So he put him. He didn't put him at the
Mm.
top. With
That's interesting.
he left Suarez. No, that's a big move. He left Suarez and he left Messi. Obviously, right? You
Yeah.
had two amazing players. So he put Campana as a left midfield because Campana is pretty technical. He's a big guy, he's pretty technical. But Tata was explaining later that gives him the ability to step up like to be like another nine during the flow of the game, which he
Mm-hmm.
did, and he had a clear shot at the end to kind of win the game, but it was blocked. So I thought that was a nice, interesting tactics, a change of pace for Tata, and he's trying to put as much offensive firepower on the pitch. And I think he's giving Campana a little bit of a merit and respect for the last few games where he's been scoring, where he's been looking good, and, and he's trying to find him a spot. So I thought that was a wrinkle that not too many people talked about or brought up. And
Yeah.
I thought that was a very big move, and I want to see if he repeats that in the next game.
Man, those are the things that when you hire a coach for a championship squad, that they need to be able to make those kind of decisions that people might think are crazy, but when they work, you look back and you're like, damn,
That was genius.
this yeah.
That
like
was genius.
I would have never thought to put Campana in the midfield. You know what I mean? That
Put
like
him as a left midfield, man. Yeah, it
that's
was like
wild.
whoa. But he's such a big guy, but
Yeah,
he's fast. I mean,
he is
he
fast.
looks he. I think he would have been a great free safety in tackle football. Man. Six 6'2",
Yeah.
boom, bang people. But the other thing, and now that we're talking creative, and this is just me, I haven't seen Tata unless they do it in practice because we're only
Hmm.
you only get like 15 minutes and you don't see anything else. But I would like to see Yannick Bright at some point be like try to center back to give
Hmm.
Busquets his shot back at his spot because I think Miami's losing that flow of the ball being sprayed
Yeah.
around and Busquets is the one that does that. He takes it out cleanly. He gives the ball in a great position. And,
Hmm.
and I think Yannick is growing into that role and is a very good player and will develop into an even better player. But I think playing center back would be easy for him because he's technically very sound. He's a pretty strong. He's got the same physique, maybe a little bit very similar to David Martinez, right? And I think he's a little
Yeah.
bit stronger. So I think he would be able to do that, but that's just like projecting. It would be risky, I would imagine, to try that. But I think that's something that if it's an emergency, break glass in an emergency. I think that's something that could be done, and then you let Busquets play up top. Because Busquets is a different level creating, but he's also very solid defensively. And then when you have a guy like Bright who's fast, then I'm less worried about those fast guys because I think Miami is vulnerable to those speed guys that cut behind them, and
Yeah.
I think they're vulnerable to that, and we're going to see that coming up. And I don't know. I feel good, but I need to see this team in the last three games start getting that rhythm again.
Yeah. So let's talk about those three games. Next up, they're traveling and on the road. They're going to Columbus to face the defending champions of the MLS of the MLS Cup Playoffs and of League's Cup. So that's a very formidable squad, and it's this game could very well determine the Supporter Shield, right?
Absolutely, it gives. Yeah, absolutely. If Miami wins the
Mm-hmm.
game, that's it. They'll clinch the shield. But
Yeah.
if Miami loses, it opens the door for
Mm-hmm.
Columbus to take that shield. Obviously, there would have to be other results,
Yeah.
for that to happen. But it mathematically makes it possible to happen. And the way that Columbus is playing, with the confidence they're playing, they're out there. They tied this game. They've tied a couple games, but they're still a team that's looking like, the like Tata says, the best team in MLS. He calls them the best team in MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a little bit of coach speak, maybe it's a little coach psychology. I don't know what,
Yeah.
but I've always said that that's the biggest challenge for Inter Miami. I think Inter Miami plays well against them, does really good against them, but
Yeah.
they're a threat. I mean, like I said,
I don't
barely.
think I don't think it's coach speak, bro. I think they deserve that moniker, man. They're the defending champions of the league, and they just won League's Cup, where all MLS squads are competing in, and all Liga MX squads are
They are
competing in.
doing what Miami was expected, or we expected them to do, right? They are doing
Exactly.
what Miami, when the season began, we said, oh, okay, Leagues Cup, MLS Cup,
Mm-hmm.
champions, CONCACAF champions, supporter shield, blah 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 blah. We said, oh, Miami's in for all these things.
Yeah.
Early in the season, unfortunately, there was injuries and missing. The roster wasn't complete. Matias Rojas came into this game now, and like rechanged the game. Well, when
Yeah.
Matias Rojas came into the team, he changed the team,
Yeah.
right? So that player wasn't there. So it's a lot of moving parts, but Columbus
Mm-hmm.
is doing. They are doing what Miami was expected to do. They're actually doing it.
That's true. So I don't think it's crazy for Tata to call them the best team in the league.
No,
You know?
that's not crazy. A lot of people, and that's the other thing I see too. Also, like they look how funny they go after Messi. The guy that's won the most trophies. Like fans, some
Yeah.
fans. I'm not talking about the whole fan base. I'm talking some fans.
Yeah.
The guy that's won the most trophies in history. World Cup champions, Ballon d'Or, the most Ballon d'Ors, and then they'll go after a guy like Tata. You see Tata out hashtags all the time, all the time, and I think he's done a masterful job with
Yeah.
with this squad. Despite having a great squad, he's had multiple injuries, and
Mm-hmm.
the team has been incomplete throughout the whole season. And he's been able to use a lot of the young guys. He has been able to put the young guys in situations that are stressful situations, and he's been able to get good results out of them. Noah Allen, who thought Noah Allen was a left center back? Only Tata. Honestly, when he said that, he was asked, it's like, hey, you're using a left back or a left wing back out of position. And he's like, no, no, no. Noah is a left center back that plays left wing back or play.
Mm-hmm.
He turned around, and Ian Frey and Yannick, he's giving out confidence to Yannick. Kermaski plays big minutes. David Luiz
Yeah.
plays big minutes. Alfonso, what Leo Alfonso was playing big minutes also, for Inter Miami before he got hurt, and he was doing a really good job. So he's done a masterful job getting this veteran team to mix with the young guys and get great results. I mean, who expected for this team to go on that streak when Messi was out for all these?
Nobody.
Only one guy that I know, and I think he said it. Well, he says he meant it, but I think he was just joking. But I had one guy tell me, I had to mention his name,
Uh-huh.
but and he was like, oh, they're gonna get eight, 18. I thought they'd go half. I said, okay, if they win, out of 18 points, we thought he was gonna miss 6 games, right?
Yeah.
But he missed more. If they get 9 points out of that, they go half. I wouldn't be upset, and they got more, so
Mm-hmm.
a lot more, and they went on a great run, and the team was looking solid, and they were beating good teams in their house and on the road, and so yeah,
Yeah.
I think Tata's been so those two guys. You're going after Messi and you're going after Tata, and that's crazy. I think that who has that resume that Tata has? I mean, not just MLS, but like in general. Not too many coaches at MLS have his resume, so you
No,
got to
bro.
give him the
Tata's
respect.
Tata's coached the biggest teams and the biggest tournaments in the world.
You got to give
So
him his respect, man, and
yeah.
and you got to give those two guys, man. You can't, you shouldn't. You can do whatever you want, but you shouldn't go after. I think you're barking up the wrong tree, and I hope that they prove it, prove everybody wrong. Those doubters, actually, those, and I would call them haters, um, with an MLS Cup.
Yeah, man. And there's always, I don't know, like I used to think that it was like an older person way of supporting, like my dad, for example.
Hmm.
Growing up, he would always, shit on the Dolphins or on the Heat or whoever. Like, oh, son una mierda, whatever. you know. and I was always like, bro, what a hater. And I was like, maybe just because he didn't grow up in Miami, he doesn't have that connection. But I think it's just, I think that's Miami fans in general.
You're fickle.
Yeah, I think that's very common in Miami, but that's neither here nor there. How do you see this next uh 3 games to end the season playing out?
They're gonna show us. They're gonna show us if Miami's ready to take it.
Hmm.
Um, a championship team, they come from three straight draws, right? And what
Yeah,
that's one of the things Tata says. Like last year or previous seasons, this was a losing team, habitual losing team. Now everybody's used to it being a habitual winning team. Supposedly, that's what they are. So
yeah.
when they draw, like you get criticized. So he says, so we should look at that as being a positive. That even we're not losing
Hmm.
and we're being criticized. But I think
Wow.
that after these three draws, their performance against the top team in the league in their home is going to say a lot about what this team is made of, about what the Fantastic Four have brought to this team. This last game, I think Suarez was a little off, like he missed. He was, it just wasn't. I think when they dyed his hair, they took a little bit of this quality away because he got the platinum blonde. So I don't think he's going to miss those shots against Columbus. I'm expecting a good performance for Miami, and I think that they can win that game. I really believe they can win that game. And if they win that game, our big friend momentum will come back, like you were going to talk about later, that how important
Hmm.
that is going into the playoffs. I think Mo will be back, in the saddle here in Miami if they give a good performance against Columbus Wednesday night.
There we go. Another squad in the league that has really been building up momentum is Orlando.
Big time.
Orlando is now the number 4 spot in the East. At
Have to be
one,
15.
yeah, now at one point I think they were dead last at one
Yeah,
point.
yes, yes, yes.
That is insane, insane, and they have just gone on an incredible run. They've been in I think in the last 10 games, 10 or 12 games or something like that. They've been the highest scoring team in the entire league.
They have that type of firepower, right?
Yeah,
They have that type of team.
yeah, and it's
Solid defensive.
wild, man, wild how they've turned it around, and how we called it. We called it at the beginning of the season when we saw them going through their struggles. It was just getting the new players and the already established Orlando players integrated with each other. Getting them used to playing with each other.
You said
Getting
it. You said it.
Yeah, yeah, and it just took a little longer than a lot of people would have wanted. But now look where they are, man. They are legit the hottest team in the entire league right now.
Absolutely. No
They they're riding that momentum wave, and if they can continue,
doubt. They're dangerous.
they're
They're
gonna be super dangerous, man. And if they win these last 3, look, they are at home on Wednesday versus Philly, then they travel to Cincinnati, and they close it out at home against Atlanta, which is a big rivalry for
Yeah.
them. Even I
No,
think that
those are three tough games too.
yeah, I think that Atlanta rivalry is bigger for them than the Miami one even.
Yeah, because that's who they were against before Miami came up.
Exactly. That's been their rival for a while now. So that's going to be a big game. It's going to have a crazy atmosphere, and man, when you look at the guys that have really contributed, you see a mix of the old and the new, right? You see,
But they got very talented young guys, and they got
yeah,
experienced, proven veterans. But you're in the Orlando area.
Yeah.
those only Orlando based podcasts that are up there. How many of them were like, like we said, even when they were down, Lemon City Live said, "Hey, this team, it's not over. There's still time in the season. There's still, you give them a chance. It's not over." They were ranked. We ranked them number one in our preseason
In the
power
preseason
ranking
ranking. Yeah.
for a reason. For a reason. And
Yeah.
then they surprised us with the crap that they started with. But
Hmm.
we said, hey, there's too much talent in the team. Plus, they have a good coach. So it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense that at some point they don't turn it around. How many of those podcasts kept that faith? I don't know because I don't watch that. I only watch Inter Miami.
To be fair, I don't watch a lot of podcasts, so I don't
You
really know
watch
what the other guys were saying, but
on
I
Twitter or
know
whatever.
I know that the fan base, they were like fed up with Coach Pareja. They wanted him out. You
He's
know,
rough. He's a little rough. He's a little rough, but I think he's a good coach.
I think he's a good coach too, and you can see how he's been able to turn it around this season. You know, like he has his methods, right? And sometimes it takes a little bit of tinkering for him, and but once he figures it out, that's it, man. His teams, when they figure it out, they are off to the races, bro. And we saw them accomplish something big when they won U.S. Open Cup a couple of years ago, and then last season when they went on their historic run where they scored the most points in a season that they've ever scored. And now I think they can surpass um, that performance from last season. So yeah, man, I think once and that's his thing. He starts out slow because he's tinkering, and it's not always the same exact squad that you had from the previous season. So you got to figure out, okay, who's gonna work for me this season? Let me plug and play, move guys around until you finally figure it out, right? And not only that, get guys to buy in to whatever it is that you're doing, even though sometimes it doesn't work out, right? All right, we're not gonna do this anymore, guys. Now we're gonna try something else. You got to get those guys to buy into that, and I think that's where he excels in keeping his locker room together and keeping them bought into what he's trying to sell them
Uh,
throughout
he
the
has
length
a
of a
fighting
season.
spirit. Yeah, he has a he's scrappy. He has like that type of spirit, that type of vibe, and Orlando City gives you that vibe too because they're a very talented team, but they hit. They're strong. They're defensively they're very tough. So
Yeah,
it's one of the teams that's a challenge. I mean, it's one of the teams that like or well, it's the top four teams, right? It's the top four teams.
yeah, yeah. They
Orlando,
were top four in the East.
Cincinnati, and Columbus
Mm-hmm.
and Miami. Any of
Yeah,
those four teams
I think it's
can
just
do it.
Florida and Ohio. That's it.
How funny, right? So how funny is that?
Yeah.
You're right.
So something that I was thinking about earlier. I think Facundo Torres not being invited to the Uruguay squad for Copa America lit
It's a
a
good thing.
fire under his ass, because coincidentally that's around the time when Orlando started to go on their run. And if you look at all the stats from every game, there's a few names that are consistent, but the one that is the most consistent is Facundo Torres, bro. That kid has been playing like if his life depends on it.
Like he was expected to, like he
Yeah.
was paid, and brought there uh,
Mm-hmm.
to do as a top prospect. He's playing how he should be playing.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think he's trying to make a case for himself for the next World Cup for 2026. And if he keeps playing the way he has been playing, moving forward, I think you could see him in Uruguay colors come, USA
In,
2026 World
in,
Cup.
in the white colors in 2026 and in some other teams' colors in Europe before that.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Orlando doesn't have a good track record of sending guys
Don't even
overseas.
don't even start that Mickey Mouse Club with what they did to the forward for
No, that wasn't Duncan. That
Duncan. What
wasn't
they
that
did
wasn't
to Duncan
Orlando's
Brother.
fault. That
No, of
was
course it
not.
wasn't. Of course it wasn't.
No, it was who was it? Bournemouth? I forget
The
which club it
the
was.
Rovers.
Blackburn. Yeah, it was Blackburn. Man, that
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me
yeah.
twice, shame on me. All right.
Yep.
So
And yeah, and Duncan, he's one of those names that you see contributing during this run. Duncan McGuire, man, he's another amazing talent for
Natural goal scorer.
Orlando. Not
Natural goal
yet,
scorer.
exactly. And he's a hard hitter, bro. That kid, like once he gets out in an open break, oof, try stopping him.
Yeah, he's a
He's
good player.
he's tough. And another guy that you see is Muriel. Muriel, I
Well,
think,
I mean, he was at his highest point.
yeah,
He was like they said, a poor man's Ronaldo, not Cristiano Ronaldo, but the one from Brazil, the number
R9,
nine,
yeah,
not Ronaldinho, but the number nine.
yeah, yeah,
He has nice moves and stuff like that, and he was always expected to be like a superstar, and I don't think he ever lived to that, but he has had a very very good career.
yeah, definitely, man. And
In
I
Italy,
think,
he's one of the top Colombian like players that ever played in Italy as far
yeah,
as goal scores. Yeah,
yeah, we all remember that stat that we put out in the beginning of the season that showed that in I think it was a 2 year stretch or a 3 year stretch, whenever he and Cristiano Ronaldo played at the same time in Italy, Muriel was second only to Cristiano in goals scored. So
and at one point he had the most goals per minutes played because he would be coming off the bench and
yeah, there you
score.
go.
So he had that in all of Europe for a period of time. He had the most goals scored per minutes played.
That's wild, man. And I don't know why he hasn't been like dominating here in MLS.
I told you when he first came in, you asked me a little bit about him, and I told you
Yeah.
about his personality and some of the things that could affect him. And I think now he's probably in better shape, a little more
Hmm.
focused, a little more motivated, and he's feeling it.
Yeah.
So he's very talented. He's
You know,
very
and these guys at the end of the day, when they're competing, that takes over them. Whether you're a lazy guy or you don't like to exercise or whatever it is when the competition takes over your athletic spirit, when you're out there, like you can't help it. You're gonna go out there and compete, man. And
yeah.
so I think maybe that's some of what we've seen from Muriel in this run that Orlando has had. Also, we're seeing him finally be like, okay, this is fun again. Let me go out here and bang some goals. Let me go out here and get some assists for these young guys. This maybe he just needed to find the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's been a few other guys, man. Ramiro Enrique, who, if I think, in my opinion, he broke into the Orlando scene last season when he scored a game winner against Columbus, and it was closer to the end of the season, and that really is what spearheaded Orlando making that historic run closer to the end of the season where they scored the most points in a season they ever had. That win for them was, man, what a vibe. I've never been to a crazier Orlando City match than that one.
Hmm.
But since then, he's proven himself to be quite the proven goal scorer, man. That kid, he finds the back of the net pretty often now. He scored this past weekend a beautiful header, and he's someone that they can count on. So he's getting a lot more minutes because he's been able to show that. So yeah, man, I think if Orlando can end the season in a nice little run. Look, they play Philly. Philly's not having a great season, and they got Philly at home on Wednesday. And then I think traveling to Cincinnati is gonna be tough, but Cincinnati lately hasn't been playing that great. So
You mentioned the three remaining games.
yeah.
I think something we haven't talked about, the most crucial thing is injuries. They
Mm-hmm.
injuries to key players. That's something
Yeah.
that's happened since Miami all season, right? It's the key players that's gotten injured.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that doesn't happen, and same
Mm-hmm.
thing for Orlando, right? You don't want any of your key players getting hurt during these three games, and
Exactly.
heading into the playoffs. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, definitely, man. So that's another thing. Yeah, definitely staying healthy at the end of the season is one of the most important parts of a championship run. So Yeah, man. Let's see how Orlando will do. I think they'll be able to, like, last year they finally won their first playoff game. I think this season, maybe I think they can make it too. Maybe they'll go on a finals run. It'll be very interesting to see Miami against Orlando to
in a playoff atmosphere.
in a playoff atmosphere. Yeah, man. With maybe playing for that spot in the finals.
That,
That would
that would be fantastic,
that would be incredible.
and it would be here in Miami.
That would be in Miami. Yes, that would be in Miami. So yeah, man. It's setting up to be a very fun MLS playoffs. We only got a couple, like, three more matches to go, I think, in the regular season, and then we got playoffs, man.
Playoffs. Absolutely.
Playoffs.
That's what we want. The weird playoffs, right? When you start the first round 2 out of 3, and then single elimination.
That's true.
That's
MLS is
MLS. That's
wild,
MLS for
bro.
you.
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. You got any final thoughts for me, Shavi?
Let's see. What did I write on my final thoughts? No, I mean, I just we're just hoping that Messi, does something good in this last game. Starts getting his rhythm, his flow back. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure that the Fantastic Four are okay. Inter Miami, it's vital that their center backs are solid, and they're good to go. I mean, as long as they're a healthy team, they're still the team to beat. They're still
Yeah,
the team, even though they are not the league's cup champions right now, or the defending MLS Cup champions, but they are the team to beat based on what they've done so far, during the regular season. Now they have to claim it, and take it. If not, it's all for nothing. It will be a failure.
it would. They can make the finals and
Lose,
lose
and it's a failure.
and lose. Yeah, even if it's a tight game, whatever. If they
Even if
don't
they win
win,
the,
it's a
the
failure.
supporters croqueta shield,
Yeah,
and then lose the final, it's a failure. They
it
need
is.
they need MLS Cup. The pressure's there, and that's why you have guys that have won everything that probably don't feel pressure like, oh, MLS Cup, it's not a pressure, right? They're gonna go and
Exactly.
play.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, man. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. All right, Xavi. Thank you for hopping on, bro.
Always, brother.
It's been a pleasure. Well, we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week.
God willing.